Hello and welcome to this interview series ahead of Data Center World on the 6th and 7th of March at Excel London. I'm Stuart Crowley, editor of Techorati, and today my guest is David G, director and principal consultant at Impleon. David is set to appear at Data Center World in March, but today we're going to go back in time to talk about three significant years in his life that has shaped his life and career. So welcome, David.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart.
All right, so David, what have you chosen for your first significant year of your life, and why have you chosen?
Well, if we look for the last years, one of the year which is make change an impact on my life, it was 2020, which affected by COVID-19. When people start to work from home, they change their habits, but at the same time, it gives me opportunity to connect with the people through the LinkedIn, through the internet, and find new ways of developing business. At the same time, I find a mentor who explain me my values, which can be valued by the data center industry. His name is Gyulnazaryan, and he introduced me to the Open Compute project, and also with many other peoples like Stefan Frenzel, Karl Kabe, François Tournesac, Rolf Brink, Raul Alvarez, and I start collaborate with them and achieve much more possibilities and learn more and share more. So this is the 2020, which make impact in this rapid growing in the industry.
What sort of opportunities did that unlock for you?
Well, actually, it is destroying the limits, destroying the borders, because before you was limited by the real contacts, possibilities to have like a shaking hand and after making business. But after COVID, it increased your possibilities. People will start become more flexible to establish contact with the person which they never seen before, and start to trust to the history in social networks like LinkedIn. When people look who he know, how they can trust, look for the experience, and that make even the first connection much easier, because you understand where he work, what experience he have, is it his mindset open or no, is it flexible. But however, it make you much easier to move forward, define the right people in this ocean of possibilities.
Considering the time of COVID-19, when we were all kind of locked in our rooms, having to do a lot of things remotely, how important is that community for the data center industry? And was it affected positively or negatively by the pandemic? Do you think it kind of spurred people on to be more socially active? But how important is it that we are active in this community?
So of course, when we start work from home, there is crucial role of video conference and information transferring. And if we look for the industries which was suffered from the COVID, and the industries which win from that COVID, one of the winners was data center. All industries is declined and only data center is grow up. So the value of data centers become more important, and demand in data center capacity is also grow up, and even now it's continue. However, what also we saw after COVID, that the nature itself, the environment, become more sustainable. We saw that water become more pure, the animals come to the places where they haven't seen for many years, and connected with that, I also start thinking about the environment, because the data centers is power hungry applications. They need a lot of energy, and the source of energy is another mark which should take into account. And this is why I start to think about the future of our kids, of our next generations. So there is no planet B, and if we will not handle our planet, can survive for the next one. We will just consume them. This is why I start to pay attention for the data center decarbonization, and that was another next year which formed my activity as a consultant. I start to focus on data center decarbonization and heat reuse, because it's not wise to release the valued product to the atmosphere and make even harm for the environment. It's make a sense to think about to reuse the heat from the data centers. It's valued product, and usually data centers are close to the urban areas, and there is a lot of opportunities to use that heat. And this is another important year which make my transformation from just making efficient cooling of that center, and I shift from the cooling to the heat transfer and make that in efficient way when you create ecosystem where is that center is reliable and interruptible source of the heat.
What have you selected as your second year, and why?
So second year is connected with the environment and this impact of the data centers on the environment, and possibilities to create ecosystem where data centers itself will be a crucial converter of renewable energy from the solar panels, hydro stations, and wind turbines to the thermal. So data center is play a role of this transformer, and at the same time it will reduce the fossil fuel consumption or eliminate its usage or heavily reduce, and at the same time rethink the design of that center to make it decarbonized, to think about the not only embedded carbon of the building, but also embedded carbon of the servers, to extend the life of the servers and increase the life duration by creating the ways to reuse the IT equipment, which is possible to do in many areas. So that was second crucial year, which transformed my activity from just cooling to the comprehensive approach, and including in that center business also heat user areas.
Yeah. And when did this happen? Was this 2021? Was it following on from COVID?
Yes, it was 2021.
Why was it that you saw this as something significant for you to really focus on?
Several things. First thing is that we try to create sustainable design for data centers, and we realize that a lot of energy is just released, and there is opportunity to reuse that. Second thing is energy crisis, which creates stimulation to avoid fossil fuels. And the third one is the global trend to be net zero. So when you're thinking about being net zero, it means that you should reduce your fossil fuel consumption, first of all. And this is how much data centers as a source of the decarbonized heat. So all these three together bring all together as a puzzle, and we solve financial issue, we solve environmental issue, and also the social. When we have a low price source of the heating, it's also make sense for the people which use that heat.
How successful do you think we are in achieving those goals as an industry? Do you feel like we're making good progress, or do you think there's still work to be done?
Well, I can say three things. First thing is that Data centers is created as a box which is self-confident and independent. So data centers, normal way is to be independent. They have own energy generation, own cooling generation, and they don't want to be dependent. And this is why it's not easy to connect them to any other supplementary heat reuse. So, and the second thing is about the PUE. So when you make heat reuse, many data centers should use heat pumps, and heat pumps increase your PUE. And this is why data centers don't want to increase their PUE, even they reduce the CO2 emissions, and in comprehensive they are more efficient. And third one is the legislation, which now is accepted in Germany, that 10% of the heat of data centers should be reused. That if you will have 10%, it means that you can make 100%. But even in that case, there is directions for the data centers, but there is no obligation for the energy user. I mean, for the district heating operators, they don't have obligation to take your heat from the data centers. They just can say no, and you will not able to use your heat. So this is why it should be comprehensive. You should bring together and data centers and heat users. So district heating operators should not use fossil fuel until they didn't take all this renewable heat from the data centers and other applications, and only if it's not enough, then you should burn fossil fuel, but not opposite. So so I want to say that it's not, you should not only push data centers, you should also attract the district heating operators and other industries to accept that decarbonized heat.
That's a fantastic point, especially given the agreement during COP28 to really reverse the usage of fossil fuels as well.
Yeah, so there is many options for heat reuse. So first thing is that you bring that center close to the heat user. Second way, when you bring heat user close to the data center. And third way, when you design both at the same time and fit them perfectly one to other and build from the scratch, for example, pharmaceutical industry plant and data center, and they work together as a one ecosystem.
We'll move on to your final significant year, and I'm aware that we kind of move ahead a little bit to around 2023, 2024, with a very significant advancement, which is, of course, AI. So tell us a little bit about why you've selected this kind of significant year that's truly impacting the data center industry.
Yes. So when I evaluate the carbon footprint of that center, I realized that when you shift from air cooling to liquid cooling, you heavily reduce your energy infrastructure and reduce overall the embodied carbon of the energy infrastructure, cooling infrastructure, and also operational, etc. But I try to explain that to the market, but market say we are fine with air cooling. We don't want to shift to liquid cooling because there is no need. We can still run our existing one. And the same with heat reuse. We don't need heat reuse because we are fine. But what is changed? In 2023, the sales of new generation of the servers, which have high TDP CPUs and GPUs, was so strong, so huge that people come to the conferences, to the producers, and start to ask how we can handle the next generation of GPU and CPU, which have such high thermal design power, which is more than 500. And this is when they come to me and say, David, how we can make liquid cooling with this, and this. And at the same time, I say that liquid cooling is going hand in hand with heat reuse, because we have high temperature water to the heating. So In 2023, we have a lot of new generation of the servers, a lot of requests for the liquid cooling, and people don't understand which kind of liquid cooling they should use, on-chip, backdoor, or immersion. And I'm trying to explain to the market that, first of all, we should look for the application software, because software design the hardware, CPU or GPU, and the temperatures on it. And hardware define the cooling method. Is it immersion, on chip, or air cooling? Because we have some equipment which don't need liquid cooling, and it's not possible to everything shift to the immersion or on chip. And only after that, when we define the liquid, the cooling method, we define the facility, and the facility is defined by the environment or heat reuse application. So it's comprehensive approach from CPU, from application, from software till the environment. Is it Germany? Is it Emirates or any place? Or is it heat reuse? And if it's heat reuse, what temperatures we need to achieve? And everything which is between should be designed in this way. However, it's possible to make flexible systems which will fit for everything. And this is our task to explain how open source solutions can help you to make that transition from air cooling to liquid cooling, and for many other servers and GPUs and CPUs, and be ready for the next generation equipment. Again, AI, I just look on that from technical point of view, but there is a software and possibilities of artificial intelligence on our daily life. This is another very interesting thing, which even make effect on me, because now I use AI to create the papers and different other things. It's really save a time and make our life better.
Absolutely. Well, AI is burgeoning still. It seems like it's still in almost like a nascent stage in terms of a ubiquitous application. But more and more people are obviously using things like ChatGPT. I mean, I've only just started using it within 2023, 2024, and it's burgeoning. It's growing, daily almost. So, based on that, what do you predict will be needed for the data center industry because of this advancement?
Yes, I can say the specialty of the AI requests. So, for example, for Meta, if you want to build one AI cluster, it requests 30 megawatts. And if you want to have 10 clusters like this, you should have 300 megawatts. And if you want to build such cluster everywhere, you should have 10 of them. So it's come to 3000 megawatts, it's 3 gigawatts. And the same for the other hyperscalers and other clusters. It's really power hungry. So it is not growth of the data centers, it's growth of the models of AI, which goes in parallel with data centers. It's not cloud growth, it is AI. And this is why it use another cooling approach, another heat transfer approach. And issue which now facing that growth is where to get that energy, I mean connection to the grid. Second thing is how to make the design of that units more sustainable, I mean to make heat reuse and or any other useful things. And another thing is how to be more efficient. So it's mean you should not use any more air cooling, you should shift to the liquid cooling. That all together change the conceptual design of that data centers. And this is why AI data center is different from the cloud or our existings. And at the same time, we see the transformation in colocation business that, for example, Equinix already announced that they will provide liquid cooling possibilities in their colo services. So this changing is happening right now, and we should accept that and be more responsible when we make that decisions.
You mentioned being more responsible. Does that relate to if say liquid cooling does become even more of the chosen route for cooling a data center? Does responsibility relate to water usage and water reuse within?
I want to be more precise. So if we go to the liquid cooling solutions, they show that they need 32 degrees inlet water. And in air cooling, we have 20 degrees water. So 20 and 32 is very small gap. It not bring value, in fact. Even if we have 32 degrees and ambient air is 35, we need to use chillers. So there is no difference one system from the air cooled from the liquid. So responsible design is then you try to achieve inlet temperature as high as possible and outlet temperature is also as high as possible in order to reduce the mechanical cooling, to reduce the energy installation of the system, to increase the possibility of using more IT with the same power input. And this is the responsible design. And another thing is that you should interact with heat users like factories, like greenhouses, and etc. To be environmentally friendly, as I said.
Yeah. Well, today you've shared some really fantastic technical insights with us. So thinking about 2024, the year that we're in now, and you're going to be appearing at Data Center World in March, what do you hope to share and impart at the event in March?
Yes. As a consultant, and when I understand that when even people want to shift to that, they don't know where to get the information, where to find the right way. And this is why I plan to present open source solutions which will drive the market, to explain how to do that and how to achieve that in creating ecosystem, starting from the server, rack, facility level, and even ecosystem level. Everything is possible to make open source. It means that people can take that, use, improve, and give back again. And only in this way we can transform our industry from decarbonized to decarbonized.
Fabulous. Well, I'm very excited to hear more about that at the event as well. And I'm sure, as you mentioned at the start, people like Gyulnazaryan will also be very excited to know that you're advocating for open source and people like OPC as well. So thank you so much, David, for taking the time today, and we'll see you in March.
Thank you, Stuart. Looking forward for that.